on. Ready? Okay. Definitely recording. So here we go. Stage 2 admission for the next batch of chemo, and I'll be an inpatient for a few weeks after this point. First 36 hours, which is kind of what this episode covers, is basically the catheter, which I hated beyond measure, and a fight about cannulas, whether or not I needed them, whether or not it was possible to give me the drugs without having the cannulas, and my wife giving me a wash for the first time because I was a disgusting human. Okay, right, so take 2. We're here at Derriford for the start of stage 2. It's the 25th of September. Taking the chance, we're going to be late in a minute, so taking the chance to quickly vlog before we go in, as we're in a great big queue for the car park. Had to call in at 9:30 this morning to haematology to double check what beds they had. They said to come in at 2. The ward clerk had no idea if they were actually going to treat me today, but she said they knew they had to get started fairly quickly, so I'm assuming they might. Can't be sure though. They don't start treatment, and that's a good thing, which I'll discuss later on. Most importantly though, my wife and I just stopped for a very quick lunch. I had a Pizza Hut. We had a Pizza Hut, which as of today I won't be allowed to have. Neutropenic diet, so no food out, no food from takeaways, no good food of any kind. So yeah, last sneaky one before it all starts. You're not gonna go again. You way go.
Okay, so in the bay now. There are a few other people here, which is why I'm going to be fairly quiet. Yeah, I had some observations. The neurology registrar has come around and done a quick check. Apparently he thinks my EDSS is sort of 1 to 1.5, which is different to obviously to relapse when I had a 3.5.
EDSS is a funny thing. It's not really something I ever actually paid much attention to for like the first 7 years I had MS, because I've been really lucky and I had loads of relapses. Like I was relapsing once every sort of year and a half, but all the relapses were quite mild sensory stuff, really, and I never went above 1.5 in terms of the EDSS score, so I didn't pay much attention to it. It was only in my relapse in 2017 where I jumped up to sort of 3.5, 4-ish that it suddenly became a concern for me, and quite frankly, it was a bit frightening. If my understanding is right, the limit for the EDSS score, I think it's around 6. Most people say if you're above 6, they don't tend to do it, and please do tell me if I'm wrong.
The next thing, which is the bit I really haven't been looking forward to, is the catheter. So, yeah, not looking forward to that. We'll see if it's as bad as I fear. Strangely, I'm more nervous about this than the chemo.
So run away. No, it's okay. Oh dear God, I hated that catheter so very much on that first day. It gets better. It certainly gets better. And like I mentioned earlier on, it's good they didn't start the treatment that day because it gave me a day to get used to having that fucking thing in me. Obviously, it's embarrassing having it put in, whether you mean to or not. A little bit of wee comes out, so you got wee on yourself and wee on your bed. It really hurt. I'm not sure if I just have a really very sensitive urethra or if it's like that for everybody, but it was tremendously unpleasant. And I realise now how much of a bloody trooper my wife was when she had hers fit. And then when they talked about having to catheter, she said she'd have to self-catheterise every day. I understand now why she was so resistant. I didn't get it then. I'm sorry.
Catheter is in. That sucked. I didn't enjoy that at all. I watched my wife's going in after she had a C-section, and she made far less fuss than I did. Mobility is obviously now reduced. I have made some sort of run from the bottom of my pajamas, but this is life now, I think, until I get out. So 15 days.
It doesn't stay in until you get out, but you are being very, very optimistic, thinking you're going to be out in 15 days.
I don't need to go for a wee, which is hopefully going to become liberating, although right now it feels really weird. Like I'm doing a wee, but I'm not doing a wee. Am I weeing? Don't.
I was trying to be funny for the camera, but I was bloody miserable. There were 5 other guys on the bay, so I didn't want to be too much of a whinger.
It feels like I need to push all the time, and yeah, and then it started leaking a little bit. I spent the last 25 minutes sat in the toilet. I think the rest of the people on the bay think I have some sort of bowel problem.
Don't worry, sir. You'll have bowel problems for several months, starting very soon.
At this stage, but I've been told to basically stop pushing, try and relax, and chill out. So I'm gonna try playing some Switch, and that takes my mind off it. But as it stands, this is significantly more uncomfortable than the Hickman line.
That half an hour in the bathroom, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I felt like a waves of compulsion that you had to push. I was trying to push, and I felt better if I pushed initially, and then felt much worse. And what happened, obviously, after doing this for half an hour, managed to sort of break through the catheter. So I weed a bit with a catheter that was coming out of me, and so I got wee on myself again. And obviously, such is my way, I sweated a lot. It was stress sweat, which was nice. Okay, so I am being washed. This is day 2 on Birch Ward. Had steroid Bracken Ward. I had steroids about 6:30 this morning, and then what else have I had? I've had potassium and saline, and that's there now. What's up? Help me out.
I don't know what's up now. Oh, Mesna.
I've had steroids and now it's Mesna. What's the Mesna?
Bladder protection.
Bladder protection. The catheter is better than it was. Yes, it did get better. Yes, I did get used to it. It's worth stressing, I never ever liked it. Even if it means having no inconvenience in terms of getting up to wee, I hated having it in. But I hated it much less after the first couple of days. And after the first 24 hours, it no longer felt like it was trying to sort of pull out the inside of my penis. Even in the vlog, I don't think I fully articulated to the degree to which I did not like it. Although my wife assures me that apparently I sent her 35 messages 2 hours after she left. Thankfully much better today, a bit more comfortable. Yeah, so things are looking up. Chemo due to start, I think, in the next 45 minutes. And my wife is giving me a wash. So she assures me I stink and that I should remedy that. So I'm going to let her finish.
Why aren't you washing yourself?
So I was quite stressed and sweated quite a lot when they fitted the catheter, and then that was followed by the sitting on a toilet and getting stressed and sweating a lot. But I was afraid of getting the Hickman wet, and I was afraid of moving at all with the catheter. So I only really had a wash for that first week or so when my wife came to visit. I'm not washing myself because I'm afraid of this, that, the Hickman line, and I'm afraid of moving the catheter. And that's attached to my heart. So yeah, not moving. It's attached to my heart. It's in my heart. Okay, yes, I know it's not in my heart, but it makes my not washing sound far less like a wuss, if that's how I describe it.
Gonna complain about something.
I was going to say, I forgot Charlie wanted pictures of your medicine.
Well, if you can, she's gonna keep an eye.
Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. It didn't bother me much at the time. I didn't really think much of it. After a couple of months in hospital, and when they go off overnight all the time, and you're on a bay with 5 or 6 other people who've all got machines beeping all the time, I learned to hate it. That noise and that particular tune will be with me until the day I die. As a side note, not every hospital has those beeps. Not every hospital has pumps that are that noisy. My understanding is that Derriford changed their pumps last year, and the new ones were much louder. I'm not filming your face.
Good. I trust you, don't worry.
Okay.
That line. Stop.
Leanne just helped me quite a lot.
Minus the camera.
Yeah, so I haven't got my mic, hang on. Wait. Okay, so this is a fairly significant victory. It was a victory, and it lasted for less than 24 hours. There was talk of giving me a cannula because the Hickman line that was fitted only had 2 lumens. Lumens?
Yeah.
Lumens, when ordinarily they'd have 3. Very kindly, Leanne went and spoke to the doctors and discussed a plan to, instead of having to run things separately, to mix them in effectively. That's what you're doing, like running
Yeah,
them.
we'll basically run them alongside each other.
So running them alongside each other, which means I do not need a cannula, so the promise of no needles may actually be true. I kind of felt a little bit cheated that I'd gone in for a Hickman, which was exactly the thing I needed, and they'd given me a Hickman with 2 lumens, effectively guaranteeing that I would need cannulas while I was in. I argued that there must be a way of making it work with the 2 lumens I had, if they could change the timings and all that kind of stuff. To be honest, I think the doctors found my cannula reluctance a little bit annoying, but the nurse was really, really nice, and she helped a lot in terms of talking to them to try and figure out a way to make it happen. Which is good.
So like I said, this will be twice a day.
What, the blood's checking?
So this is for, we're checking your electrolytes. Hence why it will tell us if we need to add any more potassium to the fluid that we're giving alongside.
Cool.
Cyclophos might kind of thank you for that.
It's quite good, obviously, that you can give the blood through the Hickman rather than having to have extra needles put in you. They had some trouble getting it out of me initially the first few times. We figured out the best way to get it out of me and through the line was a big breath. So would generally open up the veins or arteries or whatever it is enough for the blood to go. From what I understand from the nurses, though, it's not always that way with other people. Sometimes some people have to breathe out. Leanne has spared me another cannula. Now, I can't show Leanne because Leanne doesn't want to be in it, but you could. Oh, you just saw Leanne's glasses.
Oh God!
In the script. I know.
There's proof that I am a real person.
You do exist. Hey, look, hang on, actually, wait. I'm going to film your tag.
Yes.
This is Leanne.
There you go.
Very happy not having a cannula. This is very good.
It's done.
Oh, it's done, is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Somebody got me to cough the other day when the first time.
Do you want to cough?
Cover your mouth, man.
Might just be I need to flush the line again.
Should I stand up? Don't tell me it's broken. Can it break?
No, it's not broken. Don't worry. If you lean forward slightly, sometimes then it shoots out.
There is no shooting.
I think I've grown out of that life now. As I like you get to go to the beach.
Cleaning lumens and the smell of those wipes, that is something I'll never forget. Now, in terms of what they're meant to do, if memory serves, and my wife will correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're meant to clean for 60 seconds, then leave for 30 seconds to dry. Obviously, this is a line that is going directly into your body, so infection control from that point is very important. Being honest, certain staff members were a bit quicker than others, but as long as they seemed to clean it thoroughly for like sort of 10-15 seconds, I generally left them alone and didn't say anything. When my wife visited, she was perhaps a little more severe in terms of how she judged them and encouraged them to follow best practice at all times.
Right.
Is it?
Weird, isn't it?
Let's get focused.
Being a bit temperamental. We're going to do with this.
I am. That's precisely what I'm doing. Having had steroids before, I know that I don't sleep. Okay, so now we have got the autoglobular rabbits.
Rabbit anti-human chymocyte globulin.
The rabbit anti-human chymocyte globulin genuinely comes from rabbits, which I didn't know. So there's been a great many rabbit puns from the staff here. With more to come, I'm promised. They're very, very good. So that's gonna. Apparently, that kills a specific kind of cell, enzyme. It does a thing. It does a thing. I'd forgotten this from last time. But it's back, and I guess it'll be here tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Just wait. Hiccups. I had those hiccups for about 6 hours a day for 6 or 7 days. Now, you don't think hiccups are that bad a side effect, and really, in comparison to what a lot of people go through, they're not. But I did have those hiccups about 6 or 7 hours a day for about 6 or 7 days. Last time I had them for about 3 or 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer. Started to die when I got home. Obviously, I'm here now, and the treatment was a little bit later, quite a bit later. So who knows? I could be hiccuping well into the night. Still, it does beat snoring, I guess. So yeah, fun. Finished. So, like I said at the start, it was kind of weird watching that one back again, more so than any of the previous episodes. The cleaning lumens, the flushing the lines, the beeps, all that kind of thing became so entrenched in what my life was for so long. When you're in that little bubble, when you're in that isolation room for like 4 or 5 weeks, they're a big part of what your day is. And so to watch that again and see myself having no idea what any of that is, having no idea what it would mean, it's kind of unusual now to be able to look back at it. Another thing to mention, this is the first time I've recorded something where I've posted up a few films now and had feedback on a number of them. And randomly at my last clinic appointment, I met someone who'd seen the film, which was a very strange experience. Like, I kind of make these things, people comment on them, but I never actually expect to meet people in the real worlds that have seen it. Becoming more conscious that I don't want to seem like I'm suggesting this is the experience for everybody. When I make these films, when I make these comments, either me, current me, future me, or past me, it's just that, it's me. Being honest, and this is a feeling that I expect I'm gonna probably have quite a bit while I post these films, kind kind of makes me feel a little bit like a fraud, that my experience was relatively straightforward. There were bumps along the way, of course, but nothing compared to what some other people have said. I don't really know exactly what the point I'm trying to make is, only that I'm realizing more how different this is. In the same way that MS is different for everybody, I think going through this process is gonna, have similarities, but will be different for everybody. And all I can do is explain what happened to me and how I felt about it, and then obviously how I feel about it a few months later. That is it for this one. I don't know what the next one is. Give me one moment. I do know what the next one is. The next one is a very bad night's sleep because of an error at the hospital, followed by a very sad call from my son, followed by going into my isolation room. So yeah, the process very much started moving from this point. But thank you very much for watching. If you could please like, subscribe, post feedback in the comments, and I hope my dog's barking isn't ruining this take. And I will see you in the next one. I'm going to go and answer that. I'll try not to make the intro very long. What do I want to say? What do I even want to say? Hang on. Should I start again? I think I'll start again, right. And, obviously, such is apparently my way. Sunshine! Okay, yes, I know it's not really in my heart, but it makes me sound like far less of a whoosh. A whoosh? Another thing now, so I've done a few of these, and they've been posted up, and what am I doing with my legs? So I'm really conscious of the fact, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, it's just weird. When you're using the sun as your key light, it's a nightmare. Right, here comes the sun. Brilliant. Fuck you. Fuck.